Tell me a Parsha story. Welcome to Parsha House.
Sivan Rachav Meir shared a story with me about Rabbi Hartman. Rabbi Hartman lives in London and he teaches many students. And he was so excited when he heard that his teacher, his rabbi, Rabbi Moshe Shapiro, was coming to London for a visit. And not only was Rabbi Shapiro coming to London for a visit, Rabbi Shapiro was going to be teaching Torah classes. You know what made Rabbi Hartman really excited? He had just bought a new special device. It is called a voice-activated tape recorder. And that means that when a voice starts speaking, the recorder records, the voice records what they're saying. And when there's silence or a pause, automatically it doesn't get recorded. So it saves lots of time and lots of space. And boy, was he excited about that, because there was so much that he wanted to record from the classes that his teacher was going to be teaching to him and to others in his community. And so the day came. Rabbi Moshe Shapiro arrived in London, and Rabbi Hartman went over to him and he said, if it's okay with you, I'd like to set up this recorder on your desk so that we could catch every word you say. And you want to see something really amazing? It's voice activated. And he put it down, and the rabbi gave the class. When the class was over and Rabbi Hartman went to take back his recorder and to thank Rabbi Shapiro for a fantastic class, he said, Rabbi Shapiro, do you know how this works? The way it works is that every time you paused, every time you stopped for a second or 2 seconds or 10 seconds, automatically the recording stopped. And then it picked up again when you started talking. I can hardly wait to listen to everything again. It saves time, it's efficient. And Rabbi Shapiro looked at Rabbi Hartman and said, so it didn't record any of the pauses? And Rabbi Hartman said, no. And he said, oh, well then the recording is missing such an important part of the shiur, of the class that I gave. Because the moments of silence, the pauses, allow people to stop and think about what they learned and digest what they learned before they move on to the next point. In this week's Parsha, when Hashem speaks to Moshe, it says, Vayikra Hashem el Moshe, and then it says that Hashem spoke to Moshe, Vayidaber. And Rashi explains that when Hashem taught Moshe, Hashem paused between teachings so that Moshe could absorb the lessons, could absorb what he was learning without it being too quick for him. One of the lessons that we can absorb, that we can think about in this week's Parsha, is how much the Torah values not embarrassing another person. Because if a poor person wants to bring a karban olah and can't afford a bull and can't afford a male sheep, then that person brings a bird. And the Torah tells us that the bird goes on the Mizbeach with its wings on. The innards, the inner stuff of the bird is removed, is taken out, because birds pick from other places. So we don't want anything that even seems close to having stolen to be put on the Mizbeach to Hashem. So once those innards are taken out, that bird that's already so much smaller than a sheep and so much smaller than a bull looks really small. So Hashem tells us to keep the wings on, because when the wings are on, it makes the bird look bigger. It makes it look like a more important gift so that that poor person won't feel embarrassed. But the smell of burning feathers, ew, it smells awful. It smells terrible. But in the Torah, it doesn't say that. It says that to Hashem, it's an ishe reach nichoach laHashem, that the smell of this karban, of this sacrifice of the poor person, smells beautiful to Hashem. Why does it smell so beautiful to Hashem? Because it's saving the poor person from being embarrassed. If we have a friend who might not be as good in math as we are, or might not be as good in art as we are, or might not be as good in sports as we are, whatever it might be, wherever a person is lacking, it's our job to save them from embarrassment, to make them feel good, and to build them up. And if we take time to pause when we learn lessons from the Torah, it'll make it easier to absorb all the information that we're learning. And it'll also make it easier for us to absorb and make the lessons that we learn from the Torah a part of who we are. I hope we can take this learning and slow down so that we can take the lessons, integrate them, and think about the messages that they can teach us. Shabbat Shalom.